we'd like to welcome Justin Thomas to the interview room here at the Quicken Loans National. Justin, #3 in the FedEx Cup, very solid play this season and solidifying your spot in that top 5, which you know is essential heading into the playoffs. Just kind of talk to us about where you are with your game heading into this last stretch.
Yeah, well, it wasn't a good week last week, obviously, but as weird as it sounds, I was almost. I obviously would have rather made the cut, but it was nice to have a weekend off. I really needed it after the Open. I had a corporate day on Monday right after the U.S. Open, and never playing in the last final group of a major before on Sunday. It honestly just took a lot out of me, and I just could never really catch up on rest and get my body feeling right. And I really just needed. I mean, I'd never sleep past 9 o'clock, and I slept till noon on Saturday. So it was nice to just get some rest and really do nothing for 2 days. So it was to get a little, I practiced really hard these last 2 days. So, I'm hoping my game will be in good shape. But this course is very difficult, so it should be fun.
And on the course, we're at a new course this year for the tournament. Talk a little bit about your already what you've seen here at this course and game plan for tackling it.
It's hard. I mean, you could 100% host a U.S. Open here starting tomorrow. I mean, you really could. And it's not very often we play greens this firm on tour, other than majors. I mean, you'll occasionally get a weekend where they're firm, but I mean, on Tuesday and Wednesday, you don't get them. Where 8-irons are rolling 5 to 8 yards or bouncing 5 to 8 yards out, and I mean, it's long-ish, so it's you get those really tough tee shots on 450 to 480 yard holes. You kind of have to hit a 3-wood or so, because if you hit a 2-iron or whatever it is, then you're trying to hold these greens with 6-irons and 5-irons. So it's that's kind of another element to it. So I have no idea what the scores are going to be like, but I can't imagine them being anything crazy low.
All right, great. With that, we'll start with questions. If you'll raise your hand, we've got some mics on each side of the room. Steve. Yep. Or just go ahead. Oh, no. Steve.
Just expand. How difficult is the rough out there? I was out there with Ricky, and
it's really tough. It's it just kind of adds another element to the course. I mean, it's fairway's already a premium coming into these greens, but I mean, I think on 8 today, I mean, I hit it in the rough, and especially in the morning when it's a little wet and has some dew on it, it's I mean, it is thick, and there's times where you're just gonna have to chip out. And like I said, it's very, very major-like. It's very U.S. Open-like. It's just it's a cool course, tee to green, to kind of, when you're standing on the tees, just looking down the hole and the shape and the bunkering and the grass around the bunkers. And I've always thought that just kind of bent grass with rye or bluegrass rough, it just has a cool look to it when you look down the hole. So it's a lot cooler to look at than it is to be in, though. It's thick out there.
And I'm getting ahead of myself for the British Open. Now that you're one of the members of the 63 Club, does it give you a different perspective of how great Henrik Stenson's final round was at Troon last year?
I mean, I don't know. I really don't. Just I've been fortunate to where when I get going, I can go low pretty well. So, I mean, this sounds probably pretty arrogant, but I feel like I'll shoot another 63 in a major at some point in my career. I don't know if it will ever happen, but I feel like I have the game to do so, and I feel like Henrik is one of those players. I mean, what him and Phil did was unbelievable, and I'm not taking anything away from that. And the rounds that they had, and to do it on Sunday when someone's chasing you down is way more impressive than my 63, I would say. But it's just, when you're that good at golf as Henrik is, and you're on, I mean, it doesn't matter where you are, and it wasn't very firm at Troon last year for a British Open, just like Aaron Hills. So softer conditions and playing really, really good golf, you're going to shoot low numbers.
Okay. We'll go over here, and then we'll get a mic to Gene next. Right here.
Hi, I'm Matt Cohen with the Montgomery Sentinel. So you have shot a 63, as we talked about, but also a 59 earlier this year too. Are there days when you just wake up and it feels different? And kind of
Not really. I wish I could say yes, but I mean, there might be times when you're kind of going through your warm up or out on the range or something, and you feel. I mean, you don't feel around like that coming, but you definitely feel more confident going into the day than you maybe do other days when you're not hitting it as well or warming up as well, if that makes sense. So there's been days where I've had great rounds when I haven't slept well or when I kind of wake up, just crabby or not in a good mood. That doesn't happen that often, but crazy things happen in this game, so you just never really know what's going to happen.
And secondly, you talked about how exhausting the U.S. Open was. You were in the final group, so how did you prepare for that last day coming off of the 63?
It was hard. It was a new experience for me, so I didn't know how I would feel. I didn't know how I'd react. I felt like I did a really, really good job, honestly, of handling it and reacting to how I started. I mean, I easily could have tanked it and shot 80 that final round and finished 20th or 25th, and it goes from it still would have been an historic Saturday, but it goes to a very average week if I do so. And I didn't have it that day, and I really fought as hard as I could to shoot 75. I mean, I tried as hard as I could. But, it just was the process of waking. Like I said, I don't sleep in. So waking up at 7:30 for a 2:54 tee time, trying to find something to do for that many hours is difficult. But I just kind of went through my normal stuff and just went out there and tried to be as ready as I could. And, just wasn't meant to be that day.
Here, we're going to go to Gene, and then we'll get a mic right here.
Yeah, Justin, you said you can't imagine this winner of this tournament is going to have a hugely low round. We talked to Bill yesterday. He said he'd gladly sit in the clubhouse at 10 under 4 days. Is that something? Would you agree with that?
I think so. I think I'm very bad at guessing scores at new courses. But I mean, I'm having a hard time seeing double digits under par win. I mean, it's really difficult. Firm greens changes everything, and they're very good, but it's just the little things like chipping in that ball instead of staying close to around 2-3 feet, rolling out to 5-6. Stats show you're going to miss those at some point. And with the slope, you can get some big breaking putts. It's just, you really have to go off your ball this week to play well.
We'll go right here.
Justin, obviously we all feel bad for Tiger and wish him the best with what he's going through, but does it hurt this tournament at all not having him here, even in a hosting capacity, to present the trophy and get people excited to see him?
In terms of that, I'm not sure. It's really cool to see what he's doing in terms of, he's handling what he's dealing with, and he's taking it seriously. I think as someone who looks up to him and as a friend, I think that's more impressive than coming here. He's worried about, obviously he cares a lot about this tournament. It's his tournament and he wants to be here, but he's worried about what's going to be best for him, best for his family. He wants to get back on track, and I think it speaks a lot to him. He's taking it very seriously, and I know if he could be two places at once, he would. And like you said, we all want him back out, so he's just trying to do the necessary steps for him to be out here as fast as he can, I think.
Did he have anything to do with you deciding to come play here? I don't know if you've played in this before. Yeah,
I've played every year I've been on tour. I just I don't know why I chose. I played in about every event my rookie year. So, and then they're great golf courses. This tournament historically is always a great golf courses, and anytime you can go play a great course in a cool city like this, and the crowds are great. And for such a great kind of cause, and it's just what the week's about, it's really special, for all the service and hours that these guys and military and everything put in. It's a special week for sure.
We're gonna go over here on the left, and then right up here.
I just want to ask about a couple things. The U.S. Open that last weekend. What did you learn from that you can carry over into future majors? In terms of even to what do you do after, with all that time, what did you figure out to do and maybe better next time?
There's really nothing else to do other than what I did. I mean, you just sit there. I mean, I don't like to work out before I play just because my body feels differently. So that's something I couldn't do. You just really just sit there and watch a lot of TV. I mean, the good thing about it, which I really like, is the golf comes on so early coverage. I mean, so I watched a bunch of coverage, and just because you're learning stuff about the course. And I mean, I did the same thing Saturday. I mean, I remember I birdied 8 because of watching the coverage in the morning. I saw someone hit one up the slope and came down like this, and I'm in the fairway. I'm like, all I got to do is hit on that slope, and I'm gonna have a kick in. And I hit it up on the slope, and I had, a foot. So for me, I wouldn't change anything differently of the process from waking up till going to the course. I just would like to play better when I got out there.
Did you learn anything about you? Did you learn anything about you and your game in terms of playing the rounds? What you might do, say, at the British or the PGA?
Well, I've struggled putting in the wind a little bit. So when it was a little bit windier on Sunday, I tried to go out a little earlier and just try to get comfortable putting in that wind. And so I mean, that's something that I just have struggled with a little bit. So when it was that windy on Sunday, it was tougher for me. But I mean, I felt comfortable. I was nervous on that first tee, but I mean, I'm nervous most rounds, or at least you feel something on the first tee. So that wasn't anything too crazy. I mean, obviously a little bit more feelings, but no. I mean, I learned a lot about myself, just how I felt. Like I said, I felt I handled it well. I felt like I handled it better than I would have, honestly. I was comfortable. I mean, I don't know if it's because I didn't have really that much of a chance the last 6 holes or what it was, but I mean, I just felt like for how I was playing and how things were going for me that Sunday, I felt like I hung in there well. I handled myself well, and like I said earlier, I just did the best I could. So.
One last thing, what's better about playing a hard course this week, a couple weeks after U.S. Open, thinking in mind you've got another major test in 3 weeks?
It's good. It's like I said, it could host a U.S. Open tomorrow. So I guess in that aspect, it's a little similar. Just the course is so different. I mean, Erin Hills the greens were so soft that 7 irons were sticking, where they were. And this week, I mean, I had some 8 and 9 irons today that rolled out 8 yards. So I mean, that's in terms of a playability standpoint on the golf course. It's completely different. It's a different course. It's different grass. It's different conditions. The greens are smaller. So in terms of that, you can't really compare it. But in terms of it being a little bit more of a grind and trying to make pars, British Opens can definitely get that way. So maybe I can, kind of get some good vibes sort of thing, I guess.
All right, let's go up front, then Bob and Jonathan.
Justin, a lot of events, you play the same course, every year. This tournament, obviously, moving around a little bit. Is it sort of nice to have kind of a new challenge, a new course? Does that sort of factor into, hey, maybe I'll play this event this week?
Yeah, maybe. It requires more work for sure. I mean, there's places like last week I played as an amateur and I played twice other, so I didn't really feel like I needed to. I didn't need to go out there to see the course, Like last year, I remember I had something going on Monday, and I just didn't feel like going there to play Tuesday, so I got in Tuesday night, I played the Pro-Am, and I went and played well. So that in terms of that, I mean, the preparation's a little bit easier when you've been there just because you don't have to go out on the course. You don't have to go do your homework, whereas, I've only seen the back 9 in this golf course once. I played 9 yesterday, played the front 9, and then played the Pro-Am today. So between what my caddy's done and hopefully the stuff that I could pick up on the yardage books, then I will know enough. But that's that part makes it a little bit more difficult. But at the same time, you want to, like you said, you may want to come to a course to see what it's like.
Jonathan, and then we'll get a mic back to Bob.
Hey, Justin, realize this is a little bit off the beaten path, but what was your experience like playing Augusta National for the first time? Who did you play with on that first day, and any particular memories that kind of stick out from playing it the first time around?
Yeah, I think like anybody, I mean, it's just kind of like you're on cloud 9 the entire day. I played my freshman year of college. I played with Bobby Wyatt, Lee Knox, and then Lee's dad, Jeff Knox. And, I mean, I played most of my non-tournament week rounds with Jeff. Whenever I go there, I'll stay with him or stay with their house and play with him, just because he knows that course better than any pro, and he can play that place better than anybody for what he has. So I just remember not as much as these last 2 years when I play with him. I'm more trying to pick his brain, listen to what he's saying, listen to any advice he has. Whereas that day, I don't really remember much. I was kind of it was just such an awesome day, and it was fun. I mean, two of my best friends, and Bobby and Lee, and then Mr. Jeff, someone I've gotten to know very well, is very nice. It was just it just was a very fun, relaxing, and enjoyable day. And I remember I shot even and had 6 birdies. That's about all I have in terms of specifics, I guess.
Bob.
Justin, a couple of things on the 59 again. First, I'm sorry if you've answered this, but the 63. Was the 63 harder or easier than the 59? And also, have you studied or looked back at all, taken any time to see only 4 other 63s in U.S. Open, the guys who did it? You've joined a pretty elite group there. I
haven't looked at who did it. I mean, I know Johnny Miller has because he reminds us of that quite a bit. But I would say the 63 was probably harder. I mean, they're both obviously my 2 best rounds of golf I've probably played. But I mean, the 59 was 11 under, the 63 was 9 under, and it just was. I guess in terms of history, I would think there's less 63s than 59s, and less 59s than 63. I mean, I know nothing about history, obviously. I just know I like being a part of it.
There's only 5 in the U.S. Open.
Okay. Okay, and I think there's been about 5 59s then now or so. I was maybe the
8,
9. Okay,
9,
so
9.
Yeah, I mean they were both great days, both memorable days, and definitely days I won't forget. And I often have watched videos from those days just to try to. I enjoy it and to try to get good vibes from it, and just try to get that frame of mind and kind of see how I was reacting out there, just to hopefully emulate when I'm out playing.
Tom in the very back.
Hey, Justin, your preparation for this course, obviously you haven't played here a lot. Do you experiment more in practice rounds and hit more putts from different parts of greens, that sort of thing, when you're out there, as opposed to, of course, you played multiple times?
Yeah, I mean, as funny as it is, it's still pretty similar. I mean, it's I always think it's kind of funny because we'll go play a place that we've played a million times, a putt that we've hit a million times. I mean, you go play a practice round at Augusta, and Phil's played there how many times, and he's going to get to 2, and he's going to put a ball in the front right, and he's going to hit a putt up to that left, and he knows that it's going to go straight and go a little right. I mean, it's funny. I feel like half the time we go through the motions because we feel like we should. But definitely weeks like this, you feel like you need to and maybe pay attention a little bit more. And I spend a lot more time chipping than I do putting, just because, I mean, in reality, you're not going to remember what the putt exactly did. And the green speeds could change, and a putt could break so differently depending on how the speed you hit it with. So it's like, for me, the practice of putting I'm going to do is going to be in the practice green because that's when I'm going to get the speed, work on my technique. But when I'm out in the course, I mean, it's all feel and all what you see, and I'm just kind of hitting chips and stuff out there to see places that are okay, par 5s. Can I miss it over here to this pin? Can I hit what's a good miss to this pin? I can't go there to there, stuff like that. So I would just say it's more stuff around the greens, just trying to get accustomed to where you can and can't be, because you haven't played there enough to know where that is without, really, really kind of remembering it when you play practice round, sort of thing.
All right. Any last questions? All right. Well, Justin, thank you for your time today. Good luck this week.